Good evening. A dramatic new escalation in the Iran conflict tonight as President Donald Trump publicly rejects Iran's latest peace proposal, calling it totally unacceptable. At the center of the crisis now, the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil shipping routes, still effectively blocked as fears grow over energy prices, military escalation, and a widening global standoff. Iran says its offer was reasonable and generous. Washington says the opposite. And now the world is asking one question: what happens next? According to Iranian state media, Tehran's latest counterproposal demands recognition of Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, along with compensation for war damages caused during recent military operations. Notably, reports suggest the proposal made little to no direct mention of Iran's nuclear program, one of the primary concerns for the United States and its allies. President Trump reacted sharply on social media, writing, "I've just read the response from Iran's so-called representatives. I don't like it. Totally unacceptable." The response reportedly arrived later than expected, frustrating officials inside the White House who had anticipated Tehran's answer days earlier. Behind the scenes, Trump also confirmed a new conversation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where Iran's proposal was reportedly discussed in detail. Despite the public statements, officials still remain uncertain about what the next American move will be. Military analysts say Iran is now playing a long strategic game. Former NATO commander Admiral James Stavridis explained that while Iran may not hold the strongest military position, Tehran has extensive experience using negotiations to buy time and increase leverage. According to analysts, President Trump now faces three possible paths forward. First, walk away from negotiations entirely, but critics warn this could leave Iran with greater control over the Strait of Hormuz and potentially preserve hidden nuclear materials. Second, resume major military operations and bombing campaigns against Iranian targets. And third, continue economic pressure through blockades, sanctions, and targeted strikes against Iran's Revolutionary Guard leadership. At this moment, experts say the third option appears most likely. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the biggest pressure points in the world economy. Nearly 1/5 of global oil shipments pass through the narrow waterway, meaning any disruption immediately affects global energy prices, and Americans are already feeling the impact. Gas prices across much of the United States have reportedly climbed above $4 per gallon, creating growing political pressure on the White House. Adding another layer to the crisis, President Trump is now preparing for a major diplomatic trip to China, where he is expected to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. Iran is expected to become a major topic of discussion. China remains one of Iran's largest oil customers and has deep economic ties with Tehran. Analysts believe Beijing may attempt to calm tensions enough to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, not necessarily out of political loyalty, but because China's economy depends heavily on stable energy supplies. At the same time, experts say Xi Jinping is also carefully watching Taiwan and broader regional tensions in Asia. For now, observers expect symbolic diplomacy and high-profile photo opportunities rather than any immediate geopolitical breakthrough. Some economists believe this conflict could permanently reshape the global energy system. Countries like Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates are already expanding pipeline networks designed to bypass the Strait of Hormuz completely. If successful, Iran's ability to threaten global oil supplies could weaken significantly over the next decade. The crisis is also accelerating investment in renewable energy. Europe and Asia are increasing demand for solar and wind energy technologies, many of which are being produced at massive scale in China. Experts say the long-term result could be a major shift away from dependence on Middle Eastern oil choke points. But that transformation will take years. Right now, the world remains focused on a much more immediate concern: whether diplomacy survives or whether another military escalation is coming. Tonight, the standoff between Washington and Tehran appears far from over. Iran says it will not back down. President Trump says the proposal is unacceptable. And global markets remain on edge as the Strait of Hormuz stays under intense international scrutiny. The next few weeks could determine whether this conflict moves toward diplomacy or deeper confrontation, and the entire world is watching. If you want more breaking global news, political analysis, and international conflict updates, subscribe now and stay informed.